Hey everybody. I was giving some more thought to what I started the other day with the journaling, and some things um, that I need to go more in depth with. If you're pursuing this, I mean, if you're following this in real time, technically right now, you should be just starting a journal, and just starting to be mindful and aware of your emotional states. Um, But as you do this exploration, okay, like I was saying the other day, you are going to come to find that some things that you took as truth aren't actually true. That's some hard realizations. That's one of the main subconscious reasons that people avoid doing this work, because you are going to literally shatter your own reality when you do this. It's just a side effect. I'm sorry. We live in a fake world, to put it bluntly. Um, and you have to shatter that entire illusion. And that's what you're doing. That's what this process is. Um, I am big on talking about accountability. Accountability is extremely important. Um, but a lot of people don't take the time because, again, that's one of the ways that they have silenced us from one another. Not because they've stopped our voices. Now we have the internet, everybody can talk. The problem is we're all trained not to listen. We're all trained that, time is money. I got to be in a hurry. I got to be doing my next hustle. I got to keep my head above water. Um, and meanwhile, you're trying to keep up and you're drowning in it. And the things that could actually help you don't give the time of day, and you just keep continuing in this grind. Anyway, again, getting ahead of myself. Let's get back to accountability. We have the ability, um, every human, every actually not even every human, anything that has the capability to be self-aware has the ability to alter reality. Um, but the trick is it's not like a wave of a magic wand or, snap of fingers or something like that. There is a process to it. But we take a thought, something that exists nowhere else but inside our minds, and we make it reality. That is a superpower that so many people have been taught to ignore. And it's crazy. Um, it drives me nuts, you know, to see it in the world that nobody wants to interrupt the status quo, and that's why everybody's miserable, because nobody's really changing anything. I mean, even the ones that say, yes, I'm trying to change it, what's your effort? Are you going about it the right way? No, because the only solution is you have to go inside and fix yourself. And you have to create for yourself a survival mode that allows you to maintain your humanity while surrounded by all this and still project something real in such a fake world. That's what I am doing here. I may have a lot of flaws and a lot of faults, but one thing I am not is a liar. Um, and I pride myself on that. If I got what I feel to be a secret to keep, then I won't speak on it. I'm still programmed in that sense. Like I still avoid certain things, and I need to let go of that. But I'm not ready to yet. I haven't been forced in that corner, so I'm working on what I can work on in the meantime. I am not, perfect, and that's the whole point. Is you never will be. No matter how good you get, you can always improve, and that's what this process is. It's a continuous. You just keep doing it, and you keep getting better every time. Anyway, again, I'm sorry I'm rambling. I get off track. But it's all still relevant, I promise. Just sharing experiences, things I've come across. But the reason accountability is important is because the way this creation process works, this gift, this superpower that we have, is before you can alter reality, you have to understand it and accept it for what it is. You cannot change it until you fully understand it. You know, we, aren't as good as God. We can't just speak it into existence. We have to put in effort. We're different that way. That's why we're humans. We have to learn this. That's what this experience is all about. It's about harnessing that ability. And again, we all have it. So, if you listen to a lot of other people in the world right now, they will tell you that accountability is about blame and it's something you got to beat yourself, up over. Bullshit. Accountability is about accepting truth. It's about accepting, hey, you know what? I did really mess up in that situation. I could have done better. And once you acknowledge that, you will do, you can't do better until you know better. And you won't know better until you question what is better. That's what this whole journey is about, I constantly want to improve, and I think that's a lot of something that is very off-putting to other people about me is they confuse my acceptance with arrogance. Like, I know that I am a better person than I was. Like, nobody can convince me otherwise because I know I can see with my own eyes, I can feel in the result that this is true. I won't be shaken, and at the same point, and it's ironic, is I don't have the arrogance where if somebody comes to me and says, hey, you have a blind spot, you're messing up here, I will still listen. It's just my bullshit detector is so attuned. Like, I can tell, like, are you coming from a place of genuine constructive criticism, or are you trying to manipulate me into being a people pleaser and doing what you want as opposed to what we both know is right? And I won't say it's an, instant mental process, but I've got it down to where it's pretty quick. And one thing about me is, I've proven time and time again, I have learned to trust my instincts. I've studied, I can't tell you like frame by frame how it works, but I did have, a rough upbringing. Most of us did, Again, it's the way the world works. I grew up in poverty. We weren't like completely in the dirt homeless, but it was paycheck to paycheck to be in that way. And I understand that. And that made me pick up on certain things, and I was different. I've always been different. And, I live in a world that told me I should be ashamed of that, and bullshit. That's the uniqueness is our gift. That's our treasure. The fact that we can challenge each other and make each other think. So no, I am not unlovable. I have a lot of love to give. And again, this process allowed me to unlock that because when I was, listening to the world, I was just a ball of anger. Because the world was telling me one thing but showing me something else entirely. And I didn't like that. That irritated me. And it took me a long time to understand that, and then to overcome and figure out how to work around that. And now I'm a man on a mission. Like I do not joke when I say I am who I say I am, and I am here to make change. I am here to make this world a better place. And that is my everything. That is, what I live for. I have come to accept that that is me. And every time I would try to shirk that, and I would tell myself, no, you're too small, you're just one person, you can't do that. I would, give in, and I would sink into that and bullshit. Because again, I have proven time and time again, my instincts are sharp. And now that I have learned discernment, I am damn near unstoppable. I have had the strength. I sit here and I look back at all that time I was wallowing and I was rebuilding. 4 years is a long time to wake up every day. Some days are better than others, but to wake up every day just hating yourself is 4 years. And here I stand. Well, sit, but you know what I mean. In the last 4 years, I've had 3 heart attacks. I'm still here. I have purpose. There's a reason. God's not done with me yet. And I'm ready to answer that call. But yeah, that's the thing about accountability. It's not punishment. It's understanding the truth. It's accepting it. Because only once you accept it for what it is, can you accept that you have both the responsibility and the power to change it. One of the biggest lies that we are told is that, oh, that's the way it is and you can't change it. No, that's a half truth. Yes, that is the way it is. But guess what? I can change it. And some people are still under the misconception that, yeah, I'll change it by voting. Yeah, I'm sorry, they've proven that's not how it works. Left wing, right wing, same vulture. They all serve the same corporate masters. Everybody's still trying to get in your pocket and sell you shit. And they want you to grind harder so you can, produce more for them to sell back to you at an inflated rate. That's the game. That's how it works. And again, my, authority is proven in the truth that I reveal. I say that with the utmost confidence. Everybody looks at me like I'm a little fish and, they ain't got to worry about me. Good. Keep that mindset because I'm coming. And again, I've proven time and time again, don't matter what this world throws at me, I rise again. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I can't no more. And I can't even imagine that time because I don't, I haven't been wallowing. I've been rebuilding. And I've been taking my time because, one, truth be told, I'm hard-headed. And it takes me a while to get certain lessons. I got to repeat them. But part of that is making sure I fully understand it too. Because some people, they make a mistake and they think they learn the lesson. But no, they only learn half. There's more in there to be taken from that. But people don't take the time to self-reflect. Our lives could be so much better than they are if we just quit tolerating bullshit. Enough's enough. Again, do not confuse my acceptance with arrogance. So yeah, I'm here to make change, but I am aware, again, I accept, I say it all the time, I am but a drop in the ocean, but I am the ocean in a single drop. I am aware of my power, but I'm also aware that it's not on me alone. My power comes from God. Without God, I am nothing. And the thing about God is love. God loves everybody. This is a nobody left behind scenario. Hell isn't a punishment, it's a choice. That's a complete disconnect from that source. And that's my advice is, when you're going through that, keep that in mind. Forgiveness. That's why they teach forgiveness. And you can't confuse what forgiveness is. Forgiveness isn't, that's okay and you can keep doing it. Forgiveness is, you don't get space in my head anymore. And I've been fighting with that right now. I've had a lot of static in my head and it's been blocking me and I don't like it. So I think that's part of what this is I need to air some of that out. Because I got to quit doubting myself because I know better. I've proven better. Again, the facts, you can fight the truth, you can deny it, but you cannot change it until you accept it. These things are getting, long. I know, again, I was talking, they steal your ears, your attention span. But this is all important. It all adds up. It's not linear. Again, there's not one umbrella case, one thing fits all. It's a puzzle. And you had to put the pieces in the right places. Where one piece is for me isn't where the same place that piece is going to be for you. That's why I can't do it for you. You have to do it yourself. You have to do the work. Because my experience is not the same as what your experience is going to be. And that's the beauty of life, is our uniqueness. Everybody wants to fuss and fight and holler. Everybody screams diversity, but everybody wants to pull back and only worry about their own. And they're blindsided by the fact that they get conned into that. This is again, nobody left behind. I give a shit about everybody. But I realize that there is not reciprocation, and that is okay. My job is not to change that. I can't convince anybody of anything. All I can do is live in the truth of what God has revealed to me. And if you want to follow suit, you're more than welcome. I've let enough things in my life distract me and become stumbling blocks. And I'm starting to get better at navigating again. I've sharpened my discernment. I just can't be around certain kind of people. And I've learned to look for telltale signs. But I'm also aware, here's the catch-22 of that, is be careful when you go looking for witches because you'll find them. And that means because you're so focused on looking for those red flags, you'll see them everywhere. So you can't fall into that trap either. Sometimes the red flag is you. And that's okay. Nobody asked to be trained to be susceptible to be sold bullshit. But it happened. You know, we've been lied to our entire lives. And a lot of it wasn't even intentional. You know, one lie that I will point out to you is that people say that this greed is human nature. You know, what's infected this world. You know, oh, it's only this way because that's the way people are. If that were true, right? Why are so many people miserable? Why is there a loneliness epidemic? Why is there a depression epidemic? Because it's not human nature. Our nature is to fight that. That's what we are fighting. We are fighting our human nature. We crave change. We crave evolution. But this world wants to keep status quo. It wants to keep us stunted. It wants to keep us from growing. It's afraid of what will happen when we grow. Grow anyway. Don't let it hold you back. Nobody's coming to save us. You know, we already have a Savior. Jesus came. And the way he's coming back is through, you know, the way to the Father is through him. But his way to the world is through us. It works both ways. You have to open yourself up. You have to become. What you think is missing in the world, you have to become it. You have to embody it. You have to create it. You have to birth it into the world. That's your purpose. I am here to seek and speak truth. That's it. That's all I want to do. I know it was a mouthful today. I was holding on to a lot. So thanks for letting me vent. But I know it was all good stuff. So please do not give up. You know, do not beat yourself to death over it. You know, this is the goal. We're trying to get right. We're trying to be perfect. Perfect is complete. Complete is in God, in love. But this world has given us a distorted view of what love is, and therefore a distorted view of what God is. Quit buying into the bullshit. You know? Quit feeding the machine that wants to crush you. You starve it by not paying it attention. You win the game by not playing. You know, it's not a game. It's life. It's a lesson. Too many people, you know, keep themselves unteachable. That's why it's rough. That's why we're so miserable. That's what it means to come correct to God. Come moldable. Come teachable. But know who you are. God don't like fake. God can't tolerate fake. The Bible says that clearly. So yeah, I think I've gone on long enough. This is almost half an hour. This was supposed to be just a quick little catch up and some side notes, but again, it channels through me. It is what it is. But I know that's got to inspire somebody, because it sure as shit inspired me. So I'm going to go take the steps and practice what I preach, and walk the way I talk. And, the right one will hear it, and we'll cross paths when the time is right. I'm here. I'm on the move now. I'm done sitting still. It might look like I'm sitting still, but I'm not. I'm going somewhere. I just got to move different. God works in mysterious ways, and I've learned to trust those mysterious ways. That's why I'm happier. That's why I'm more confident. It's my confidence doesn't come from trust in myself. My confidence comes from my trust in God, in surrender to God's plan. That's what they want to keep you from. If you're always nervous and always emotional and always erratic and always, running on autopilot because of triggers and exhaustion, then you're not going to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. And then nothing's going to get done, and nothing's going to change. It's not going to change until we change it. And we got to start with ourselves. That's the message. That's the goal. That's the mission. See you there.